passed his physical on Tuesday, showed up on Wednesday, did some throwing stuff, and then
sent home.
Sayonara, suckers, out the door. And Kyle Shanahan said it was more us. I think Kawakami asked him, did he say I'm leaving or did you send him home? And Kyle said, we basically told him you can go ahead and you don't have to be here. Trey Lance found out yesterday it's his team. When I said it in the press conference, didn't tell him directly, just said it in the press conference. And it's his team now, so you can go ahead and go about your business. And we can talk about that. But I do want to start by talking about our conversation yesterday, which was you believe strongly that it's likely that they could, after a week of searching for a trade, cut him if they don't have a trade.
You see Kevin Stefanski today?
What did Kevin Stefanski say?
I don't know how much he put into some of these quotes, but he said, whenever Deshaun Watson's situation, Deshaun Watson's our starter. Until he's not our starter, then Jacoby Brissett is our starter. Now, he can say that right now without lying, right?
So that your point being that's potential.
Do you believe him when you say that, or do you think they'll?
I don't think they would. If Deshaun got suspended for the season, I think they would become interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. But I'm getting less convinced that Deshaun's getting suspended for the season. But anyway, back to I just want to make this point yesterday because you think it's more likely, much more likely than I think it is, that Jimmy would just get released after a week and they would do the right thing by Jimmy. Because again, yesterday, Kyle Shanahan said, we believe there's value. You don't just give away value, all that. The reason I bring it up today is because I want to announce to you that I am reconsidering my position, and you might be right. And here's why I'm reconsidering my position on this. I was thinking about the press conference yesterday. One thing they said probably at least 3 times, maybe 4 times, was if he hadn't had the surgery, he wouldn't be in this position. They've said that a lot, but they said it a lot yesterday for being a thing that we all kind of understand now.
Did they basically say we had a trade until he got surgery and the trade was off?
Or that's been kind of reported. I didn't get the impression they said that yesterday.
I don't remember saying that either, but I swear I saw a headline like that. But they've insinuated that, basically.
Last night I was thinking about it because these are the things we think about in our free time. I was thinking about it. Maybe it's not. Like, there is no part of this interaction from a public standpoint with Jimmy or Don Yee that the Niners have made contentious at all. And every time they say, Jimmy had to have the surgery, he had to have it. If he hadn't had to have it, we would have traded him, but he had to have it, fine. It kind of feels like they're saying our plans for Jimmy got screwed up when Jimmy needed surgery. And that's why we're in this spot of having to do something with him that we don't want to do. But here's the thought I had last night. Maybe the reason they said it so many times yesterday is not because they're explaining why they're about to hold him hostage for 4 weeks, but maybe it's because they are about to let him go after a week of searching for a trade and release him. And they want to make it very, 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 very clear their plan was good. Their plan got completely torpedoed because he needed surgery, and it would have worked if he hadn't needed surgery. And that's why we're in this position, because there's only 2 reasons you repeat that statement. One is to remind people that it's somebody else's fault.
Jimmy.
But every time they say it, they go, he needed the surgery. We're not blaming him. So maybe the reason, it seemed to me like they said it a lot yesterday for being July 26th yesterday. So maybe it was not about, hey, this is why we're going to hold on to him. Maybe it was about when we release him, just remember, this is why we're in this position. Maybe.
Why I feel even more confident that they're not going to hold him hostage all training camp if a trade doesn't come to the surface, which Deshaun feels by far the most likely, and the other ones, they just don't. Now things can change fast. Is that if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, now you're literally, and this goes back to Rap Sheet, like his timeline's a little off. Like, he is cleared to practice. He claimed that he would not be cleared to practice till August. Now, like Rap Sheet, but got to take the L on that one. Schefter came through. The Niners were right? They thought he'd be cleared to practice, and he was. Jimmy showed up this morning, did something with the trainer, and got sent home, which is cool if you're a high school kid. You're like, damn, I get to go home. It's not cool if you're a professional and you have a ton of money on the line and you're trying to resurrect your career. If you put yourself in his shoes in any profession, given the thing that you don't get to work, what you do for a living is very specialized. It takes consistent practice to sustain your level of play, and the competition is really high. Would you be cool of potentially is July 27th. Let's just pick September 1st would be the date for the next 37 days of just getting sent home after an hour a day. You would not. Again, you're not a high school kid. You're not a college kid who wants the free time. You are now a professional with a ton of cash, and you have seen the highest level. Iron sharpens iron. I can't see him being cool with this, because no human I know worth their salt would be for a long. Maybe they've iced out a deal for like the first week. We'll see how things go. Okay. I cannot see 5 straight weeks of this, of you just sitting at home. How do you practice, guy? How do you maintain your?
But again, like, I don't think him being cool or not cool with it I don't think they would trade him because he's not cool with it. Like,
when I say trade, I mean, like, I think he can make a stink. Yeah, I think they're not gonna just stretch this out if nothing's available.
I'm beginning to think you might be right, but I don't think it's because he's not cool with it. I don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's gonna put them in the position because he's upset about it so much as I think they might just go, you know what? We see the writing on the wall. After a week of this, here's the other thing. Don Yee's out there trying to find trades, but how badly does Don Yee want to find a trade? Not that badly. Don Yee wants to get released, right?
Yeah.
So Don Yee,
you could argue, like,
you can make Seattle. What's the deal? Cleveland. What's the deal? Houston. What's the deal? Carolina. We're not talking anymore, right?
The Giants, maybe.
The Giants, maybe. But if the Giants say, yeah, man, we're rolling with Daniel. If something happens and Jimmy's available in 3 weeks, then if Daniel gets hurt, you know, but it might be pretty clear to them after a week that everyone's telling them we're not all that interested.
Yeah.
Well, but my point is, like, I agree with you, Jimmy. There's no reason for him to be cool with it.
Why would not?
But I don't think they care. Like, to me, it's not about whether you're cool with it or not. It's just, is this going to be worth it to us to have to talk about Jimmy every day for the next month if there's not going to be a payoff?
Well, when I say they're not, like, I think we're potentially, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong, for them start making a stink publicly, like, I want to be released. I want to be released through Don Yee, through the media. And it's a little bit different than Debo saying, I want to trade. You're not getting a trade. It'll become like, what are you doing to this guy? This is kind of fucked up. And you start getting blowbaw because they're not really ready.
I don't think they're going to make any decisions based on public blowback. Like, I don't think that's.
But again,
I think they'll do it if they think
what do they do? What kind of business is this? This is ridiculous. Even Kyle admitted, like, it's over with Jimmy. Now it's like you're 10 days away from, like, you're sending him home every day. It's kind of stupid. I think it's time. Not time quite yet. Wait till the Deshaun news. But if the Cleveland Browns say, we are not going to trade for you, and the Texans are like, bro, we like this guy a lot. Kind of like Sando's piece. We were actually the quotes in there. We just claimed to be another organization. In Seattle, like we'll just wait till he's cut. So you can wait now or you can wait a little bit later. Like, we'll get him.
My ultimate point is that I don't think
this is not like trying to be like Belichick a move right now. I think it's.
But I think it's as simple as Kyle has said it repeatedly. Like, we don't do anything, we don't say anything, and we don't do anything that we don't have to do until we absolutely have to do it or say it. And it might be that after a week of realizing there's nowhere to trade him, they just say, okay, the deadline was the end of camp. But to your point, no one plays in the preseason. No one's getting hurt. The chances of somebody getting hurt in the next 3 weeks,
I think there's just a right and a wrong thing to do in this situation than to write it out.
Because I do think what I agree with that. Well, you are just holding on to an asset until you no longer can hold on to him anymore, on the off chance that he can help your franchise in a trade if somebody else gets hurt.
What's the most possible they could get for Jimmy Garoppolo? 6th.
You know, if somebody got hurt, or if Deshaun Watson got suspended for the year, I think you could pay some of his salary and get a 5th round pick or something like that.
But we have to admit, like, holding out for a 5th round pick, I would totally get it if we were talking like 2nd day picks. We're talking about picks that, I got to be honest, I think are completely irrelevant when they're used until the guy becomes a player, as most people do. Like, that's what we're talking about. That to me,
yeah. I mean, George, one of their best players was a 5th round pick, so I could understand. I agree with you,
and it's pretty fucking lucky. Like, how many George Kittles in the history of the league?
It always is, but there's a reason you don't treat 5th round picks like they're.
I know, but most people don't like ride forever for a 5th round pick. I get it with a 2nd round pick or even a 3rd round pick. We're talking 5th round pick. Best case scenario.
I agree with you. I just don't think Jimmy being mad or Donnie bullying them.
I don't say mad. I just mean, like,
whatever you're
I think
describing.
they're both
I
just doing business together. Like I don't think like the Niners are trying to. They're not being that cutthroat in the sense of that they're not holding out for anything. So if like it gets to the point where, to me, if they demand their release, I think they'd probably grant it to them. I think if Don Yee and Jimmy Garoppolo demand to be released, I think the 49ers would do it. I guess is my ultimate point.
Yeah, you might be right. And my point is, I don't even think it. Like, clearly their relationship to this point at least doesn't. If a demand was going to work, they would have demanded it yesterday, right? The second he passed that physical.
And maybe Don's still holding out hope that he can broker.
Well, they might know.
Who?
Like Don might know after a week they'll release him if they can't find a trade, right?
Yeah.
He might know that. Which might be part of the reason why Jimmy is being the way he's being. But it's also historically what he is.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm ready for this to be over. Like, just my exhaustion with this, because it is what it's set in stone, right? Whether he gets traded or cut, like, there's no Jimmy's doing nothing now. There's no Jimmy news unless, like, oh, this team is interested in him. But it hasn't even remotely gotten close to that lately. That's the thing. So it's like we're at a point now where nothing's going to change moving forward. Unless Deshaun is the thing, which I understand, just waiting till that happens. But I would have told you that would have happened a month ago. It doesn't even feel like, if you told me that Deshaun Watson suspension is announced September 1st, I'd believe you at this point. I don't know. Doesn't feel like there's some set date that he's going to get. Like, they don't care.
I'll tell you this. If Deshaun Watson gets suspended a week after Jimmy Garoppolo gets released, wouldn't it feel kind of crazy if the Browns didn't sign Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, it's much easier to do business with him, to sign him for $5-6 million, right?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, back to your point on Kevin Stefanski's quote, we'd be like, wait, you just not signing him at all?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, wouldn't that be crazy if you think about Stefanski's comment in that context? If Garoppolo were just on the street, they'd be crazy not to sign Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, I think that they would immediately.
Which is why I don't really believe Kevin Stefanski.
Well, I don't either, because they just need a backup quarterback. You wouldn't roll in a game with Jacoby and Josh Rosen as your 1-2, right? You would feel pretty good about Jimmy, Jacoby, Brissett, right? Given the circumstance.
I mean, this guy's been to the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacoby's been a backup for 5-6 years. Jacoby's one of those who's a really good backup, but then he has to play like,
Isn't that what backups are?
Yeah.
Half of the starters are like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue Jimmy's a little like that.
I think he's an NFL starter, though, right?
No, he is. But I'm just saying, like, the more he plays, you're like,
overexposure.
But then he has some moments just when you want to throw him to the wolves. He'll just like throw 2 touchdowns. You're like, I kind of like this guy.
Yeah. He's also been on one of the best teams in the league. Right.
Who's that?
Well, Jimmy's been on one of the Jimmy. You ride that roller coaster while he's been on one of the best teams in the league. Go put him on the Texans and see what that roller coaster.
Yeah, put him on the Giants. It wouldn't be as pretty.